Hello all, Bearcat here. For those who don't know, I am a massive Slay the Spire fan of the video game, and I guess I can post here a screenshot of how much playtime I have. I have 100% of the game on Steam and many hours on PlayStation and other platforms. Um, but just recently didn't have time to get around to the Slay the Spire board game until very recently, which was a mistake. It's incredible. Spoilers. Um, but I just wanted to talk about things that I like about it that honestly I think make it an equivalent experience to the board game, or maybe even better, depending on your priorities. So, obviously, for it to be a board game, adjustments had to be made. Like the combat system is changed. Max energy is 6, which is generally the most you're ever going to have, really. And block maxes out at 10, and HP maxes out at 9. And so the Ironclad has 10 HP starting out, but the other three have 9 HP, which I've found to be a perfect balance, really. A lot of the damage is scaled down to a point where this feels kind of similar to, the 80 HP range of the video game. And block is very common, so it's not usually an issue to have 9 HP. But so my favorite character in the game is, I mean, it's probably a tie between the defect and the watcher. Probably the defect edges out just a little bit, but I think the most changed character is the watcher. I think she's weaker in the board game, but I think that is a good thing. So Wrath is no longer double damage on attacks. It's just a +1 buff to attacks. But honestly, that ends up being double a lot of the time. With a starter strike doing only 1 damage, that is double. But when you get further into the game, I mean, it's not double on every attack. Um, but honestly, it still performs very well. Watcher is still very strong. Definitely still the most mechanically difficult, at least at first, person or character class, whatever you want to call it, in the game. Um, but still very strong. And I think honestly the rebalancing is for the better. So I think the Watcher being weaker is actually better in the game because there's just too many ways to, go infinite with her or things like that in the game that make her a pretty easy character once you learn her. But I think the changes are honestly for the better. And the Silent and the Ironclad are not changed a ton, other than Poison is very strong in the board game. Poison doesn't go away at the end of turn anymore. It does max out at 30, but I mean, even that's a momentous amount compared to how much HP most of the enemies have. Um, so Poison is very strong, and I like that. Poison is fun. It's cool. Vulnerable has been changed a little bit. It's only for 1 attack instead of, a whole turn of attack, but it does stick around until the next time you attack, which is a good thing. I think makes the Ironclad a little bit better. Um, and with the defect, lightning orbs deal 1 damage passively at the end of turn, and evoking them deals 2 damage, which still feels strong. It's still an impactful ability. Frost, end of turn for 1 and evoke for 1, which is slightly less, but even still, I've found that it performs still really well. And then dark orbs have changed. They don't snowball like in the game. It's 3 damage plus 1 for each power you have in play, which ends up being quite a bit on defect because you're wanting to have many powers, and that's a pretty normal thing. So dark orbs are still very strong. They'll end up doing a lot of damage most of the time. So I think all the changes that they made were very good for the characters, and make for an overall more balanced and more fun experience. And then also, the second thing that's mainly different about the board game is you can play it with multiple people. So obviously the video game is only a single player thing, but I mean you can play with up to 4 people, and the balancing changes depending on how many people you have. So the enemy like bosses and impactful enemies change health depending on how many people you have, but the cooperation makes it so much more of a fun experience. Playing it with someone else is just so much fun. So, and there are a lot of cards where you can help each other out a little bit, like give block to any player at the table or something of that effect. And you do fight kind of your own enemies. There are multiple rows in the combat system, and you fight your own row. But for bosses, you cooperate against the boss, and that ends up being really a lot of fun, to be honest. Um, but yeah, that's a lot of my thoughts. I think it's about as awesome as an adaptation could be. It's very good in terms of board game adaptations of video games. I've played the original game a ton, obviously, but um, I think I may end up playing this even the same amount or more. It is, pricey. There's a barrier to entry, and which is why I hadn't picked it up until recently. Um, but if you're on the fence about it, I would say jump on it. It's a great. You can play it by yourself. It's a good single player experience, but then it's also a good cooperative experience as well. And if you're a card game person who likes to hold physical cards as well, then it's good for that. Um, you can have cards in your hand and have a tactile experience playing the game, which is just awesome too. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's great, a really well balanced board game. And I honestly on this channel might start uploading playthroughs, single player playthroughs. It's been a ton of fun. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Um, yeah, so thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.